Hey guys, welcome back to more Entitled People stories. Hope you're all doing awesome. Be sure to like and subscribe, and let's get right into it. Get your manager here so we can talk to you about your manners. Equals, have fun looking for a new job. My company takes safety very seriously, to the point we have safety briefings on the regular to keep us updated. Yesterday, we had a talk on compactor safety. One of our big rules is to never, ever, under any circumstances, climb into a compactor unless it's unhooked from any power sources. Sounds like common sense, right? Well, dear reader, as you're about to learn, apparently common sense isn't that common. After getting our briefing, we get our assignments and are sent on our merry way. I go to my area, clean it, and pull trash. As I'm walking to the compactor, what do I see sticking out of it? But two trousered legs. After the shock lasting a nanosecond wore off, I start yelling, "What are you doing, you idiot? Don't go crawling around in there." I know I shouldn't have yelled, but I was so mad. Well, Mr. Idiot fell out and starts yelling at me. "Don't you go yelling at me. Where's your manager? Get them here right now." I put on my sweetest smile and say, "Of course, I'm so sorry. Let's get my manager here." Mr. Idiot smirks and is like, "Good girl." So I call my manager over and ask her to come over. Meanwhile, Mr. Idiot is smiling like the cat who got the cream. I'm fighting to keep from smiling because my manager, Miss Heroine, takes safety as seriously as I do. I've seen her reduce full-grown men to tears over safety issues. Miss Heroine shows up and Mr. Idiot says, "You should train your workers to not yell." Miss Heroine turns to me. "And why were you yelling at him?" "Because I caught him climbing into the compactor, and I got scared he'd be crushed." In a nanosecond, Mr. Idiot goes from looking like contented cat to looking like a scolded dog. After a sound verbal thrashing, Miss Heroine calls Mr. Idiot's manager. Within 30 minutes, Mr. Idiot was clearing out his desk, still smelling of garbage. If there's any situation where it's appropriate to yell at someone, this would be one. OP was trying to save this guy's life. A stern shout at someone to get out of the machinery that can easily kill you is really not a big deal, and this guy actually thought OP would be the one in trouble. I might be getting my manager fired / in debt over this one. I'm a 19-year-old female and I've been working for a business for close to 2 years, making close to nothing. Even though I am our diesel fleet manager, I do payroll, mapping, electrical / piping company, generally putting in 40+ hours a week of dedicated hard work. Recently, it has gotten too much. I would be able to handle the horrible pay and bad insurance, but my PR head is awful. A 62-year-old female. She is very, very religious, Christian, has told me for 2 years my beliefs are wrong, fighting with me no matter how many times I ask her to keep it out of the workplace. She has yelled at me previously multiple times, going as far as saying, and I quote, "I just know you're not going to the good place after death," insinuating I'm going to burn in hell. Mind you, all I've done at this point is have different beliefs than her. Now she has asked me to stay off PR for quote, "job security," greatly cutting my hours and taking away half my workload. So I did just that. I will not touch it, no matter how much she is complaining. She now is struggling to get it all done in a timely manner, having to work until 8 p.m. and even messed up 2 checks last week. It's obvious she is struggling without my help. Fast forward to roughly 3 weeks ago. She is charging everyone extra insurance for the work they missed in 2022. Our work pays half insurance. If you miss a whole week, at the end of the year, you pay money back for whatever work covered. She asked me to check and see if people missed work that she didn't charge. I complied to what she asked of me. So I noticed she is doing it to everyone but herself. So I took it into my own hands to see how much work she missed and if she owes money. Big surprise. She owes quite a large sum, due to her 3 different 1 to 2 week vacations in 1 year. I know she won't charge herself for it, so I ratted to the boss. Our certified public accountant is currently adding it up for her. 20+ years of work and likely no payback. She also has already been caught stealing about 10 years ago. She put tens of thousands on company card that was in my aunt's name. My aunt quit and gave her the company card to dispose of. Instead, she used it for 5 years on personal use. She always told me to watch out for stealing employees. Edit. She just asked me for help on PR because it was too much for her. It's our last day to get it in. Told her no and walked out. I couldn't help but smile on my way back to the office. Everyone keeps telling me to report her to HR for our company. It's a smaller family-run business. Me and her are the HR. Entitled mother tries to steal my job van. First off, I'm Swedish, so please excuse any typos. I work as pest control. It's a pretty fun job. I get to meet lots of people every day, and I see a variety of entitled people glad to see me, and sometimes people jumping with happiness that the Wasp Man has finally arrived. Yep, that's my favorite nickname. So you'll be just as surprised as I was that the story isn't about that. I had just completed a good day's work, 2 rat jobs, 2 bedbug jobs, and 4 wasp jobs, when I realize it's only 2 in the day. When I get off at 4:30, I head to the office and think about all the fun sales and paperwork stuff I can do to ease out this month's paycheck. We usually get 5 to 10% commission on all jobs we do. That's over $400. I park my car and start reaching for my pockets to lock the car, when suddenly I hear a child yelling, "I want that one." I look over to see a kid running over with her Karen-looking mom right behind her. The mom keeps her distance, but the kid is really interested in the car. It's a brand new VW Caddy Maxi, so I understand her fully. I go up to the kid and start talking to her about the car. And I start talking to her about what I do for a living. Give her the same speech I give all curious kids. She of course doesn't pay attention to me, and manages to open the passenger door. I carefully close the door again so I don't get her fingers in between by accident, and tell her that's not okay. Till I feel a hand on my shoulder. It's the Karen mom. "How dare you not let my kid get in the car? You're done with it, and now it's our turn to use it." I look stunned by what Karen had just said, until I remembered that our office is neighbors with the car rental company. "Oh no, ma'am. As you can see, this car has my company's logo on it. We are neighbors of the car rental," I said before I was abruptly interrupted. "This is outrageous. I demand to talk to your boss. You can't just refuse a customer," she says snarkily, getting so close to me I can smell the free coffee the rental place offers. I say as calmly as possible, trying not to fold this woman's clothes while she's still in them. This is property of company with an X in their logo, not specific car rental place. As you can see if you compare the logo above the door you just walked out of, the logo on my car, and the logo on my clothes. Without even double checking, she frowns and says, "You're lying. I demand you get your manager." Fed up at this point, I say, "Okay," and go in and grab the boss of the rental place. We'd had lunch several times before, and I even sold him some stuff off the clock. When we get out, I see the entitled mom is in my driver's seat, and the little kid is trying to jump in the passenger seat. I reach for my pocket when I realize that the keys that's for a brand new van containing more poison in it than is needed to kill an entire football stadium is in the bloody van. I run up to the car, and lucky for me, the stupid cow doesn't know that on newer cars, you don't even need to put the key in the ignition, and tries to search around the car where to put the keys in. I forcefully drag her out of the car when she does the typical drama thing and goes entirely limp, as to make it seem like I'm using way too much force and is hurting her. As soon as I get her out, she starts crying on the ground, yelling that I broke her arm. The boss of the rental place comes around to our side and starts shouting at the Karen, telling her, "And this is why you were kicked out of our store. You can't just steal people's cars." Suddenly, she amazingly jolted back to her normal self and exclaimed, "I'm calling the police, telling them you two just beat me up and touched my little girl." We just laughed and pointed at a camera pointing square on that piece of parking lot. Defeated, she stood up, grabbed her kid, and muttered away, all while the little kid was crying that she didn't get to go in my car. Lovely day. Oh, I can quit? Not without the final say I can't. At my last job, my boss, let's call her Kay, hated me. She turned everything into a competition. She mocked me publicly. She took credit for my work. She divulged my personal medical information in front of all of our coworkers. She was cruel, and needless to say, I avoided her as much as I could. So now that the stage is set, here's the context. End of 2020, coronavirus blazing. I had just had my first baby. I was a nervous wreck my entire pregnancy, working from home and being extra careful. After maternity leave, which was disgustingly short by the way, I had returned to the office with some precautions set in place. My boss became crueler to me over those first few weeks back, and suddenly announced that, regardless of any negative feeling toward it, she had decided we all had to attend this training in another state. Keep in mind that there were mandatory 2-week at-home quarantines in place for anyone coming back to my state. But my boss fully planned on ignoring these quarantines and demanding we all would return to the office as soon as we got back. I was carrying a heavy workload and pulling a lot of weight around the office, and I had some rank, so I felt fully comfortable expressing my deep concerns to Kay, telling her that it was peak COVID season and that I had a newborn to worry about now. I expressed I simply didn't feel comfortable going in the middle of a global pandemic and asked if there was a remote training I could attend instead. She firmly, adamantly insisted there was no remote training and informed me that I could quit if I was that upset with her decisions. It's important to note that she insisted this for weeks, even claiming to have contacted the training organization to make sure. I decided on the spot after that meeting that I would be quitting, but I needed to check my boxes first, which took me a few weeks to figure out. Sometime after this meeting and her incessant insistence that there was no remote training, it finally occurred to me to check with the organization putting on the training and ask them to clarify if there was truly a remote training or not. I did, and lo and behold, there was, and they had been offering it for months. I asked them to email this information to me. Now to figure out how to use this valuable information, right? Wrong. As soon as I stepped back into the office, Kay starts fake empathizing with me out of nowhere, in front of all our coworkers, saying she really wished she didn't need to force me to go to this training. So I said, if you feel so bad, let me go to the remote training. She looked at me in surprise, and her face turned beet red. Before she could fight me, I pulled up the email with the information and read it aloud in front of all of our coworkers. No one said anything. They just stared wide-eyed at her while she blubbered like a fool. Long story short, after pulling that fast one on her, I pulled her into a private meeting and gave my notice. She was horrified because, as I stated prior, I carried a lot of the work around the office. But like she said, I could quit if I didn't like her decisions. Honestly, I don't get why OP's boss continued to lie about not having remote training, other than to just be terrible, I guess. But nonetheless, it's good that OP decided to quit. Well guys, that's going to be it for today. Thanks for watching, I appreciate it. Be sure to drop a like and also subscribe for more. So take care everyone, and until next time.